The promise beyond the grave. Long ago, in a quiet town surrounded by forests and rolling hills, there lived a man named Obinna. He was strong, kind, and deeply devoted to his wife, Amarachi. They had been childhood friends, neighbors, and later became inseparable partners in marriage. Their love was so deep that people in the town called them the moon and the stars that never part. But Obinna carried a burden. He had a frail body that often betrayed his spirit. Though he smiled and lived fully, he knew that his days on earth might not stretch as far as he wished. Because of his love for Amarachi, he made a strange request to his best friend, Chike, a man who had stood by him since boyhood. One evening, Obinna gathered Amarachi and Chike and said softly, "If one day my time comes, I want you, Chike, to take care of Amarachi. Marry her if she allows it. I do not want her to suffer alone in this world. This is my only wish." Amarachi protested, her eyes filled with tears. She could not imagine such a thing. But Obinna insisted, with the kind of voice that sounded like both love and farewell. Chike, troubled and unwilling, nodded only to honor his friend's heart. The passing of Obinna. It happened on a stormy night. The winds shook the windows, and the rain beat hard against their roof. Obinna's breath grew shallow. Amarachi held his hand, refusing to let go, whispering prayers through sobs. As lightning flashed, Obinna whispered his final words. "Do not forget my wish. I will be watching." And then silence. His hand grew cold in hers. The whole town mourned. Obinna was buried beneath a tall iroko tree near the edge of the forest. But what no one knew was that Obinna's spirit had not left completely. His deep love, and the strange vow he had made, tied him to the world of the living. The marriage to Chike. Months passed. Amarachi lived in loneliness, her nights filled with dreams of Obinna's face. Chike, reluctant at first, tried to comfort her, just as his friend had asked. Slowly, Amarachi agreed to marry him, believing it would honor Obinna's dying wish. But the night of their wedding, something unsettling happened. As they sat in their new home, a cold wind swept through the room though the windows were shut. The oil lamp flickered and almost went out. Amarachi swore she heard Obinna's voice calling her name. At first, they dismissed it as grief playing tricks. But strange things began to unfold. The haunting. Every night, when the moon was high, they would hear footsteps pacing outside the house. Chike would rush out with a lantern, only to find the compound empty. Amarachi often woke with the feeling of a hand resting gently on hers. The way Obinna used to hold her, the smell of his favorite fragrance would fill the room, though his clothes had long been buried with him. One evening, as Amarachi tried to prepare food, the pot of soup boiled over, and in the rising steam, she saw Obinna's face staring at her sad, longing, and angry all at once. She screamed, and the pot shattered on the ground. Chike, too, was not spared. He would dream of Obinna standing at the foot of his bed, asking in a hollow voice, "Why did you take her so soon? I was not ready to let her go." Chike would wake in cold sweat, terrified, unsure whether the dream was real. The turning of Amarachi. As weeks went on, Amarachi began to lose sleep. Dark circles formed under her eyes. She often sat outside, staring at the iroko tree where Obinna was buried, whispering as though speaking to someone only she could see. One night, she confessed to Chike, "Obinna does not rest. He visits me. He asks me if I still love him. Sometimes I answer and he smiles. Sometimes I don't, and then the room grows cold and heavy." Chike, shaken, tried to call for priests and elders to pray over the home. They did, but the haunting never ceased. In fact, it grew worse. The final night. One dreadful night, the oil lamp went out on its own, leaving the house in complete darkness. A deep knock echoed on the door 3 times, slow and heavy. Chike rose to open it, but Amarachi grabbed his hand in fear. The door creaked open by itself. Standing there was the shadow of a man, tall and familiar. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark. It was Obinna. His voice was sorrowful but thunderous. You promised to love me forever, Amarachi. You promised to keep me in your heart. Yet now you belong to another. Did you forget that love does not end with the grave? Amarachi wept uncontrollably. Chike stood frozen, unable to move. Obinna's spirit stepped closer, and the air grew unbearably cold. Suddenly, Amarachi fell to her knees and cried, "Forgive me, Obinna. I only wanted to honor your wish." The spirit paused, its form flickering like smoke. A silence filled the room before Obinna's voice whispered, "Then come with me, so we can never be parted again." The lamp burst back into flame. Amarachi collapsed to the floor, her eyes closed as though in deep sleep. No matter how Chike shook her, she never woke again. The aftermath. From that night, Amarachi was gone, and Chike was left broken, haunted not only by his friend's spirit but also by guilt. People said that sometimes, late at night, if you walk near the iroko tree, you will see two figures, Amarachi and Obinna, standing together, holding hands under the moonlight, whispering promises that death itself could not break. And Chike, he never married again. For the rest of his days, he lived with the echo of his friend's last words. "Do not forget my wish. I will be watching."